Hi, this is Ray again with the second video in this series. Today I'm going to talk about how we create new workbooks from an existing workbook and rename it for a different track. We have separate workbooks for each track that we're going to play. When you purchase the black box, you'll get the initial workbook, and it will be for whatever track the latest version of the program is for. So to play a different track, you have to create a new workbook for that new track. I'll also talk about creating the file folder paths that point to our track card and results folders, and how to list our files after we get those file folder paths put in there. The first thing that I suggest you do is create a master workbook folder and use that folder to keep your individual track workbooks organized in. The name of mine is RS Pivot Workbooks, and that's because I created that folder right after the pivot table version of the program was created and distributed. So what I've done, I created a new folder on my C drive and named it RS Pivot Workbooks, and then I created a shortcut of that folder and put the shortcut on my desktop. It's pretty easy to create shortcuts. I'll show you one example of that. Again, I want to open up my registries, so I right click my start button, click Explore, and then let's create a shortcut for the let's see, I'm going to create a shortcut for the data 2 folder that we created in the last video. Here it is on my C drive, but I want to put a shortcut to that master folder on my desktop. So to do that, find data 2, right click it, go down to where it says send to, and I want to send a desktop shortcut. So I select the desktop, create shortcut, and it will create a shortcut. I'll show you that on my desktop. And there it is. There's the data 2 shortcut. Now I did that for my my pivot workbook. I'll show you that. I'm going to delete this shortcut because I don't need that one. I just right click that folder and selected delete, and then it makes you confirm that, and I want to delete that. Now this shortcut for my master workbook folder, I'll go to the master workbook folder, which is RS Pivot, which is right here. And all I did was right click that, select the I went to send to and selected the shortcut to the desktop, and that's how I got this shortcut on my desktop, this one here. Now if I want to look at all my pivot workbooks, let me close this out. All I have to do is click that shortcut folder, and it will open that RS Pivot Workbook folder. As you can see, I've got several folders within this master folder for different versions of the workbook that I've created. There's the one for the RS workbooks, pivot workbooks. But I have another folder for tracks that I'm currently testing, and those will be the latest version of the workbook, because I occasionally make changes to workbooks that I'm testing. So my newest workbooks will be inside this folder. So if I click that, you can see I've got several different track workbooks in here. We've got Evangeline Downs Aqueduct, Pimlico, Churchill Downs. There's a zip file for the Belmont workbook, and another one, and a third one. They're all different updated versions of that particular workbook. I have this sorted by date modified, so my newest version of the workbooks will be at the top of the list. So that's the way I organize things. I create a master workbook folder, and then I save all of my individual track workbooks into that the folder for inside that master folder. Okay, let's get rid of that. So I've got my master workbook folder created. Now what I want to do is take an existing workbook. When you first get your initial workbook, you may not want to play that track, so you would create another workbook for a track that you do want to play. So I'm going to go back to those workbooks currently in testing, and let's say that I want to take the Belmont workbook for 2013 and make it an Arlington workbook for 2013. I've already got one of those, but I'll make that for well, let's do it the other way around. I'll take the Arlington workbook and make it a Belmont workbook, but I'm going to make it for both 2012 and 2013 because I used 2012 Belmont files, the meat files for 2012, to test the Belmont track. So it's going to contain both 2012 files and 2013 files. I did the testing in 2012, and then I started playing in 2013. So let's open the Arlington Park workbook. In order to do that, normally if you only have one version of Excel on your computer, all you have to do is double click that workbook and it'll open in that version of Excel. I happen to have two versions of Excel on my computer. I have Excel 2002 and I also have Excel 2010, but I like to do all my work in 2002 simply because a lot of our users are using earlier versions of Excel, and the Excel 2002 has basically the same features as those older versions. So to keep the workbook from opening in the newest version, which would be 2010, I open the older version 2002 first, and I'll just click that, and there is Microsoft Excel. This is the 2002 version, and as you can see, I don't have a workbook opened in it yet, but it's open on my desktop. It's open, and whatever workbook I open is going to open in this version of Excel rather than the newest version, which would be 2010. So I'm going to minimize that by clicking the minus button up here, and that'll get rid of it. It's still open, but it'll be down here in my taskbar. Now I'm going to open that workbook folder again and select the Arlington Park workbook. You'll have to double click that probably. I only have to single click on my computer. Okay. You look at the top, you'll see the name of the workbook, All Data RS AP for Arlington Park 2013. And it's JCP because I'm using JCapper files. You don't have to put that in there in the name, and it's the new RS endpoints, which is the newest version that I created for the workbook, which allows you to select a couple of different kinds of running styles and early speed points. That's the name of the workbook. This, by the way, is the main page. If you look down, all these tabs down here are the different spreadsheets within this workbook. There's record keeping. The BBDB tab is for the database. That's all the data for all the races on all the cards for this particular workbook. We go back to the main sheet. All you have to do is just select any of these tabs to get to those sheets. So I'm on the main worksheet, and you'll see that there are Arlington Park files listed. You can just scroll up and down. You'll see this is an Arlington workbook, and we have already listed our data files for Arlington Park. What I need to do now to make it a Belmont workbook is rename the workbook from Arlington Park to Belmont and add 2012 to the year. The way I do that is go to the File menu, right-click File, and I select Save As. If I just selected Save, it would save the workbook exactly the way it is right now, and I don't want to do that. I want to change the name, so I click Save As, and you'll get a Save As window pop up. Okay, this Save In is where the workbook will be saved. The new workbook will be saved in that same folder that the Arlington Park workbook is in, but it'll have a different name, and that folder is the one that is named Currently in Testing. So I want to save it in that folder, but I want to go down here to where it says File Name, which is the name of the workbook, and I want to change that to denote that it's a Belmont workbook. All I have to do is click inside here wherever I want to start editing. I'll backspace on my keyboard to get rid of AP and type BEL. Then over here I'm going to change this from 2013 to 2012 and 2013. So I just click between the 20 and the 13 and add 12 and then a dash. So that tells me 2012, 2013, and of course I leave the JCP in there because it's some of my workbooks used BrisNet files, but the later ones I switched to JCapper and started using JCapper files. That's why I've got JCP there. The rest of the name you can name the rest of whatever you want to name it. I normally just leave it there to let me know which version of the workbook that I'm working in. Okay, once you've got the name, you've got it renamed, and you've got it going to the right folder, all you have to do is click Save. It'll take a little while to save. You can track that down here. You'll see that progress bar fill up. Okay, now it's already saved, and you can see that it saved it as the Belmont Workbook 2012 through 2013. Now, what I'm going to do at this point, let me check my notes. Did it save as? Okay, now what I'm going to do now is close that workbook. I'm going to leave Excel open, which is this top. This is Excel itself. Oops. and this underneath is for this particular workbook. So I'm going to leave Excel open and just close that workbook. So I click the X to close it, and it's gone. Now I want to verify that everything is correct, so I'm going to reopen the workbook that I just saved. And there's a couple of ways you can do it. You can go back to your folder that contains all your workbooks and double click the new one. See there, it's Belmont 2012-2013. That's the one we just saved. And the old one is still in here. It saves both of them. It'll save the old workbook and the new workbook. So if you wanted to open the newest one, you would just double click that one there, and it would open in Excel. There's another way to do that though. Let me get rid of that, minimize that. If you go to File, in the versions older, the Excel versions older than 2007, your most recent workbooks that you've had open in Excel are listed down below. In 2007 and 2010 and later versions, this list is to the right. And they should be, the most recent one that you opened up should be at the top of the list. In this case, it's the one that I just saved, Belmont 2012-2013. So to open that workbook, all I have to do is double click that, and it'll open. And here again, this is the workbook that I'm creating, Belmont 2012-2013. At this point, we still have Arlington Park files in here. We've got to change that. We've got to get Belmont files in here. The way we do that is to change the file folder paths in K2, cell K2 and K3. This file path is for on the C drive in the JCP master folder, master file folder that I've got all my individual track folders in, and it's the Arlington Park cards 2012-2013, and the J stands for JCapper for me, telling me there's JCapper files. What I need to do is change that to reflect the Belmont file folder path. Now my Belmont file folder path is, I'm going to go to my JCapper or JCP master folder. There are all of my track cards and results file folders. To find out the file path for Belmont cards 2012-2013, just right click that, go down to Properties, and the Properties window will pop up. The file folder path for any file on your computer. First, it'll show down here in location the drive, C:// the JCP master folder, and then there'll be another / and the Belmont BEL cards 2012-13J file folder, cards file folder. So that's your file folder path, and all you have to do is put these two together. So it'd be C:/ JCP / Bell cards 2012-13J, and then when we enter it in the workbook, we'll add another / at the end. You have to have that / at the end in order for the program to find the proper folder and the proper files. So I'm just going to get rid of that. Okay, and this, I'll go back, reopen. Now, what we can do here, we can either edit this file folder path directly in the cell by double clicking and just highlight the part we want to change, which in this case would be AP. I want to make that BEL. And once you've got it highlighted, just type BEL in there, or whatever track code you're creating the workbook for. There's another way to do that. When you select that cell, if you go up into the formulas bar, you'll see the contents of that cell. We can do the same thing up here. Just click there, highlight it, type BEL, then that's cards 2012-2013J. That part's correct. So we've got it's in the JCP folder on the C drive, Belmont cards 2012 to 2013, and they're JCapper files, and there's the ending backslash. You have to have that. Now click the green arrow, and that will save that. So you can see over here it's been changed to BEL cards rather than AP cards, for which would have been Arlington Park. Okay, that's the card file folder path. The results file folder path is going to be done the same way. Again, you could go back and look at the properties to get the file folder path for that. But since I already know what it is, all I have to do is click in there, go up in the formula bar, highlight the AP and change it to BEL. And the results in 2012-13J is the same. That's correct. So I'll just click the green check mark to save that. Now I've got my file folder paths for the cards and my file folder paths for the results. Remember, you have to have that ending backslash at the end of your file folder paths when you put them in here. Now that I've got the program pointing to the right folders for the Belmont cards and Belmont results, I can now list those Belmont cards, and they'll replace these old Arlington Park cards. The way I list them is to click List Cards. You'll see that they changed. Now I can list results, and they changed. Now you might wonder why there's a 2 in front of these files. That 2 denotes that these are from 2012. If I scroll down to where 2013 starts, you'll see there's nothing in front of the B. So I know I have 2012 files, and I also have later files, and 2013 files. And I can show you how to rename those later on, but I won't do that right now. That's just to tell the program, just so the program doesn't get confused, because some of the dates would be the same for both years, like BEL 0427. If you look at the 2013 files, see there's another BEL 0427. It's the same file name, but this one's for 2013, this one's for 2012. So I have to distinguish between those 2 years so the program doesn't get confused and import and process the wrong files. Okay, so all of our files are listed going through July the 14th. And I've got both cards and results for all those dates. One thing I like to mention is if you have different results files compared to your race card files, say I didn't have a results file for 427, I would have to go to my cards folder and delete the card file for that date in order for things to operate smoothly. What you want to end up with is, if you have 100, that's the count of all the files that are in the folder. If you have 110 race card files, you want 110 results files. Unless you've got, say you just downloaded say the card file for 718 or whatever, down here in the bottom of this, you might have a a card or two extra with no results. And that's okay. It's the ones that have already been run and you've got the results files for, you want to make sure that they match up and you have the same card and results files listed. Okay, let's see, we did that. We listed the cards and results. So this workbook has been renamed. We've changed our file folder paths to point to that for that particular track, and we've listed the cards and the results files for those track folders. I'm going to stop this video here and then continue in the next video. Thanks.